Welcome to a journey into a world full of magic and mysteries, where the boundaries between the possible and the impossible blur. Our fairy tale takes you into the life of a lonely hunter whose heart is heavy with the burden of loneliness that has accompanied him since the loss of his beloved wife. Yet fate, as unpredictable and wondrous as it is, has prepared for him an encounter that will change his life forever. Deep in the heart of the forest, by a hidden body of water, he discovers 3 extraordinary swans. But these swans are no ordinary birds. At nightfall, they shed their feathered cloaks and transform into 3 beautiful maidens. Join us on this enchanting journey through a fairy tale that teaches us that love is the most powerful magic of all, and that true love always finds its way back home. The 3 Swans. From the collection Saxon Fairy Tales and Legends from Transylvania by Joseph Haltrick. Once upon a time, there was a hunter. Not long after his wedding, his young wife had passed away. He was deeply saddened by this. As he wandered alone through the room, he always felt as if his beloved wife should appear to him. But she did not. Day and night, he thought of her, and could no longer bear to be in the house. Most of the time, the hunter roamed around in the forest for days on end. He knew well that he could not stay alone, but he wondered if he would ever find a loving wife again. One day, as he was wandering lost in thought, he ventured deeper into the dark forest, where he came upon a small, straw-thatched hut. The hunter entered and found an old man inside, bent over a book at the table, reading. The old man greeted him kindly and asked what brought him here. The hunter then shared his sorrows. "There might be a way to help you out of this distress," said the old man. "Soon 3 white swans will come flying and settle near the hut. Observe them closely. They will then fly to the pond. But before they go into the water, they will take off their feathered cloaks and lay them on the shore. As soon as the swans are out swimming on the lake, you must sneak up and steal a swan cloak. Bring it back to me." No sooner had the old man spoken than 3 snow-white swans came rushing down, rested for a while near the hut, and then flew on to the neighboring pond. But as they took off their feathered cloaks, they transformed into 3 beautiful maidens, stepped into the water, and swam far out into the lake. Then the hunter crept to the shore, secretly took 1 cloak, and brought it back to the old man in the hut. The old man urged the hunter to hide the cloak well. "That will be the first thing I do when I get home," replied the hunter, "and I will keep it so securely that no human eye can find it." Meanwhile, the 3 maidens returned to the shore but found only 2 feathered garments. Thus, only 2 of the maidens could transform back into swans. The third one had no choice but to go to the hunter's house, who was already waiting for her. There she found herself quite comfortable and soon stayed with him and became his beloved wife. Now, the hunter had lived many happy years with his wife and the 3 children she had given him. But one morning, as he went into the forest, he carelessly left the key in a chest. His wife saw it and found her swan cloak inside. Then she remembered the beautiful times with her sisters, put on the feathers, and flew away as a swan. When the hunter returned home in the evening, no matter how long he searched and called, she was nowhere to be found. The children also did not know where their mother had gone. So the hunter went back into the forest to the old man and lamented his sorrow. "You did not keep the swan cloak safe," said the old man. "She found it and flew away with it." "Ah, is it really not possible for me to get her back?" the hunter asked sadly. "It is possible," the old man spoke, "but now it is dangerous to attain her. It could easily cost you your life." "What is my life worth without my dear wife?" exclaimed the hunter. "Very well," replied the old man. "You shall have my help." First, you must try to enter the castle where your wife now resides. She has some donkeys in the stable that go to the mill in the valley every day to fetch flour. Go to the miller and ask him to hide you in a flour sack. That way, he can secretly load you onto a donkey. Once you are in the castle, the hardest part is done. You will then learn the rest from your wife." The hunter heartily thanked the old man and went to the mill. For a generous tip, the miller was happy to hide him in a dusty flour sack. And so, the hunter really made it up to the castle courtyard on the back of a donkey. There, a servant placed the sack in a corner, quite close to the entrance of the castle building. As it grew dusk and quiet settled in the courtyard, the hunter thought he could slip out of the sack unnoticed. So he quietly and carefully crawled out, right at his wife's feet. She had seen the large sack from her window and was just about to check what it was. How delighted she was when she unexpectedly saw her husband. And the hunter was overjoyed, embraced her, and kissed her. "My dear wife," he pleaded, "come back to me and the children." "I would love to," she said, "but it won't be easy. Before we can live happily together, you must defeat the 3 dragons here in the castle. For 3 consecutive days, they will confront you in different ways and torment and threaten you. If you speak even a single word, they will kill you. But if you endure without making a sound, they cannot harm you, and I will be free for you." "Have no fear, my dear wife." The hunter spoke with joy and confidence. "My love for you will make me strong." On the first day, 3 large snakes crawled towards the hunter and coiled around him until he could no longer move. They hissed at him with sparkling eyes and threatened to bite him with their venomous fangs. But because he was not afraid and made no sound, the snakes had no power over him. They fell away from him and disappeared as quickly as they had come. On the next day, 3 gigantic toads hopped towards him, spitting fiery balls at him. Although this torment was almost unbearable, the hunter gathered all his strength and silently bore his pain. Then the toads too had to leave him and they went away. On the 3rd day, however, 3 enormous winged dragons swooped down on the hunter and grabbed him with their gaping jaws. The hunter felt terrible fear and thought he might scream out loud. Yet, out of love for his wife, he endured it. And when this 3rd trial was over, suddenly, there were no more dragons but the 3 swan maidens standing before him. He had freed them all from their curse. Now the hunter was overjoyed to have his wife back, and she too was happy and cried with joy when she saw her dear children again. The whole family stayed in the castle, and they also kept the 2 sisters with them, living in peace and joy until the end of their days.